troops withdrawing and Shoigu announcement is absolutely part of the game, which was started by Putin and Russia several weeks ago. And actually, the informational part of this campaign was maybe one of the most important part, because when we started to analyze what's happening on the fields, I mean on the troop movement of the enforcement, first weeks, we didn't find any real enforcement by Russian forces, but in the social networks, in informational space, we saw a huge amount of the news about it, leaks, kind of leaks, that Russians started to prepare for the war, and this word war was one of the key word in any announcements, news, and talk shows. And in Russian talk show, they seriously was discussing about how to destroy Kiev or other Ukrainian cities by nuclear forces. It wasn't jokes. It was really, of course, the normal Russian talk show, like a crazy one. But anyway, the discussions was pretty scary. And that time, I defined for myself that this is the complex so-called hybrid operations, and military part of this, only part of this. So talking about the military preparations by Russia, they started to build this military infrastructure, what we're seeing now since 2014. They built from that time 3 new armies. It's a first-time army close to the Moscow, 20th Army close to Voronezh, and 8th Army close to Novocherkassk, which is actually operates the 1st and 2nd Army Corps in Donetsk and Lugansk. And these three armies, this is the main part of Russian military forces directed not only for Ukraine, but for Baltic states and Poland, actually. Because during this military exercise Zapad 2017, they played a war game against Poland and Baltic states and Suwalki Gap, dividing the NATO communications between Baltic states and other NATO countries. What we see now, that basically the same three armies started to create battalion task forces ready to fight, ready to attack Ukraine, and a movement from the deep Russia with new battalion task forces to enforce existing forces. But for me, the most dangerous were news about the enforcement the Black Sea Fleet by landing ships from Northern Fleet, Baltic Fleet, and Caspian Flotilla, because it was the real indicators that Russia is preparing for offensive operations from the Crimea to make a marine land operations and air landing operations from Novorossiysk, because they have a 7th Airborne Division there, and they moved to Crimea to make exercises to train how they will seize the critical infrastructure on the territory of Ukraine. It was pretty dangerous indicators. And together with preparations and movement from the deeper Russia, the Iskander regiments and brigades, it was very dangerous. I explain why, because unfortunately Ukraine now doesn't have any missile defense. We have air defense, but in modern offensive operations, strategic operations, using the first of all, of course, information phase, after this special forces phase, electronic warfare phase, and missiles phase. And during this missile phase, they destroy the command and control of armed forces and state, and air defense systems. If you destroy air defense system, it means you could use your aviation without any problem and destroy other land forces, other elements of Ukrainian forces. So for me, it was very dangerous, very indicators that Russia started to concentrate missiles and train and exercise ships and submarines in Black Sea, because in Black Sea Fleet they have 6 submarines with caliber cruise missiles with a battle range of around the 2,000 kilometers, so covering the all Ukrainian territory, and they have ships with caliber missiles. Together, kind of 150 missiles in one salvo, so it's pretty huge amount to destroy critical infrastructure for command and control in Ukraine. So what I see now that the military threat is still very high, and because of preparation for Zapad 2021 exercise, which will happen in September, I think that they will even enforce and move more aviation special forces to Belarus territory now, because they will say we will prepare for next stage of exercises, and together with our Belarus friends create a new aviation units, reconnaissance units, as they told before. Lukashenko personally told that they will create new joint aviation units for new Russian aircraft, which will move from Russian territory to Belarus. So I think it will be even more dangerous period.